Hey, my name is Siim Lund, and I recently stumbled across this study that was published a few weeks ago that showed how humans are able to reverse their biological age by 3 years after just 8 weeks.
What?
I don't think that 3 years is especially significant, but at the same time, the 8-week thing is quite good in a sense that it kind of shows that you can change your biological age quite rapidly. So in this video, we're going to talk about what was the study, what did they measure, what are the results, and also my own opinions about this. If you're new here, then click like and subscribe as well for future videos about this kind of health and biohacking.
Do it.
So here is the study, and the title is Potential Reversal of Epigenetic Age Using a Diet and Lifestyle Intervention, a Pilot Randomized Clinical Trial, and was published in the journal Aging in April 2021. They took 43 healthy adults between the ages of 50 and 72, and they put them on an 8-week treatment program that included diet, sleep, exercise, and relaxation guidance, as well as some supplemental probiotics and phytonutrients. Then they measured their DNA methylation age, and that is used to kind of assess the person's epigenetic or biological age. It basically uses DNA methylation data to predict the age, the biological age of a particular organ and the cell, as well as, the entire person. Methylation is the process of adding methyl groups to other molecules and transferring them around. Methyl groups are atoms with a single carbon unit that attaches to hydrogen. The role of methylation is to control almost every reaction inside your body, starting with digestion, your brain plasticity, and ending with genetic expression of DNA repair. Studies using Horvath's clock have found an association between age-related diseases like cancer, Alzheimer's, and osteoarthritis with accelerated epigenetics. Studies on over 41,000 participants have found that each 5-year increase in DNA methylation age was associated with an 8 to 15% increased risk of mortality. So now let's look at the results of the study. I'm going to just read it. Compared to participants in the control group, participants in the treatment group scored an average 3.23 years younger at the end of the 8-week program, according to the Horvath DNA methylation age clock. The authors also point out that, it's a small study, there's only 40 people, and it was not that long, only 8 weeks, and they are aware of that. So you can't really, based upon your entire life decision upon this study, and there are many variables that they probably didn't control for. For example, I think maybe the majority of these health results, this younger age, it came probably from just weight loss. They stopped eating junk. They reduced their calorie intake, and as a result of that, they got healthier, and their biological age also decreased as a result of that, because one of the only ways we know so far of actually, extending lifespan in other species is calorie restriction, and eating less calories, it just leads to better metabolic health, lowers the kind of burden on the system, and has some other epigenetic effects as well. One of them being the activation of these many different longevity pathways in the body, like sirtuins, increased NAD, autophagy, FOXO-proteins, Yamanaka factors, and other things. These longevity pathways get turned on in response to calorie restriction, as well as exercise, proper sleep, and intermittent fasting, which are all part of this study.
Winning.
So here's actually the specific diet that they were recommended to follow for the entire week. The guidance was 3 servings of liver, and 1 serving being 3 ounces. So they got 9 ounces of liver per week, which is actually pretty good. That kind of rounds up to a little bit more than 1 ounce per day, which is perfect. You can cover almost all of your micronutrient needs with just an ounce of liver every day. And it's quite awesome to see that these authors included liver into this diet. And calorie restriction itself, it's not guaranteed to work if you're becoming deficient in your nutrients and micronutrients. So you do need to be covering your micronutrients as well, not just be a calorie deficit. In addition to that, 5 to 10 eggs per week, which is also almost 1 egg, maybe 1.5 eggs per day. Guidance per day, the foods that they ate every day, were 2 cups of dark leafy greens, chopped packed, including kale, Swiss chard, collards, spinach, dandelion, mustard greens. Doesn't include salad greens such as romaine, iceberg, and spring mix. So all these dark leafy greens, kale, Swiss chard, they're very high in all these methyl donors, and generally considered much more nutrient dense than let's say romaine or iceberg lettuce, because iceberg lettuce is just it's just grass or greens with a little bit of water. It doesn't have really nutrients, whereas kale and Swiss chard, they have these dark pigments and beneficial effects on the microbiome, and also these methyl donors like folate. 2 cups of cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, mustard greens, watercress, and radish, Swiss chard as well. So these are also quite impactful in turning on many of these longevity pathways in the body through like sulforaphane that leads to glutathione and other like these antioxidant defense systems. And last, in top of that, 3 additional cups of colorful vegetables, excluding white potatoes, sweet corn. So that would be for the glycemic variability, so that they would want to kind of keep the blood sugar more controlled, which is true, at least like in animal studies, like higher insulin and IGF-1 signaling especially does appear to be associated with shorter lifespans. So yeah, you basically don't want to become hyperglycemic and hyperinsulinemic. So if you are starting to develop symptoms of diabetes because of eating too many carbs, and then that definitely has a shortening effect on your health and lifespan. 1 to 2 medium beets, 4 tablespoons of pumpkin seeds, 4 tablespoons of sunflower seeds, 1 plus serving of methylation adaptogens to choose from, a half cup of berries, a half teaspoon of rosemary, a half teaspoon of turmeric, 2 medium cloves of garlic, 2 cups of green tea, 2 cups of oolong tea. So you would have to choose one from that. And yeah, like a rosemary has a ton of antioxidants, turmeric as well, berries, green tea for the EGCG, and garlic also for like the sulfur and helps with like glutathione. And lastly, per day for every day was also 6 ounces of animal protein, which is approximately like 160 to 180 grams of meat from like grass-fed. I would imagine, yeah, it's just like meat. So it wasn't like, it was like very plant-centric. It had a ton of like salads and vegetables, these dark leafy greens, but it wasn't vegan. It wasn't even like plant-based, actually. Like if you eat 6 ounces of animal protein plus some eggs and liver every day, then I wouldn't consider it like even plant-based. It's almost very balanced. It's like a very paleo type of diet. And also 2 servings of low glycemic fruit. So I'd imagine that's like berries or maybe like apples. The general guidance was to prefer organic, stay hydrated, don't eat between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. So do some time-restricted eating. It wasn't like complete intermittent fasting, but it was like 12 hours of fasting and 12 hours of eating. And include some healthy oils, e.g. Coconut oil, flaxseed, and pumpkin seed oil. Avoid sugar, candy, dairy, grains, legumes, beans. Minimize plastic food containers. The supplement was phytoganics, which is the probiotic probably. Or, oh no, it's the polyphenol powder basically of these berries and vegetables to get like more of these phytonutrients in, probably 2 servings daily. And Ultraflora, which is the probiotic. Exercise, minimum of 30 minutes of exercise per day for at least 5 days. And at an insensitive 60 to 80% of maximum exertion. Sleep, average 7 hours. Breathing exercise. Yeah, so there it is.
Nice.
So what do I think about the diet? I think it's really good. It does, cover a lot of the essential nutrients, basically all of them, with the liver and the egg yolks and some meat. But at the same time, you also get all these different beneficial polyphenols and other methyl donors from these dark leafy greens and the vegetables. So yeah, I do really like the diet. It's pretty good. I think a lot of people will be able to like lose weight with it, but at the same time, it will also improve their health. So yeah, I do think that it's a really actually good diet. surprisingly, because most of the time these diets tend to be too biased or very, very one-sided. They either go like full vegan or full like say keto. So yeah, but this was like a really good diet. It actually is very similar to what I eat. Just I eat more of. I eat more calories probably. I eat more carbs on some days. I eat more meat, more protein. But yeah, generally I do include a lot of these dark leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, almost every day. Beets for sure, rosemary, garlic, and turmeric. I do consume them almost every day. And I actually have taken the same DNA methylation test as well. Maybe not the same from the same company, but I have taken the DNA methylation test based upon the Horvath clock myself last year in 2020. And when I took the test, I was 25 years old in my passport. But the test results showed that I was actually 16 years old. So my biological age was 16, and which was like 9 years younger. And I think that's that's quite a good results, you would imagine. And but at the same time, like I wasn't like surprised about it that much because I have like a really good diet. I do actually a lot of intermittent fasting. I exercise regularly. I eat most days I eat once a day. I do, let's say, more this time-restricted eating than the other people do. And I do think that that has a pretty impactful effect on this methylation, DNA methylation process, because you're activating all these longevity pathways in a much more profound way than you do with just regular time-restricted eating. And funny enough, like, I'm not necessarily like restricting calories, although I'm not overeating them either. And because I'm doing more this, let's say, tighter eating window, the calorie restriction isn't that important in terms of the longevity pathways, because it has been shown in many studies that intermittent fasting mimics the effects of calorie restriction. So you get the same benefits of longevity without necessarily having to restrict the calories if you do your if you kind of confine your eating window in a smaller time frame. And yeah, I think that's one of the biggest reasons why my test results were that good. But in the meanwhile, you can also check out my many other books about these similar topics of longevity and health span, which are centered around intermittent fasting, time-restricted eating, as well as the kind of similar diet protocol that kind of balances both nutrient density from animal foods as well as the phytonutrients and polyphenols from plant foods. You can also check out my metabolic autophagy masterclass that gives you a 12-hour video course about this entire topic. But other than that, thanks for watching this video. Make sure to click a like, subscribe, notification bell as well. My name is Siim. Stay optimized, stay empowered.